Jesus.
So hot right now.
There we go. You guys, you people in the chat wanted Ollie to be on first, and there you have it. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first stream of 2017 from us here. It is a pleasure, as always, and we're kicking it off with some glorious stuff, obviously, rounding up some of the stuff that came out with Sunday's video.
Yep.
There's quite a lot we want to get into, so of course I have Mod Ollie with me, Mod Raman, Mod Osborne, and Mod Orion. Oh, a little break, I almost got it. So, before we get into it, obviously Christmas has come and gone. I mean, what was the best Christmas present you received?
Who's that going to?
It's everyone. Go.
The coffee machine you probably keep hearing in the kitchen, like every 5
Oh, is that
minutes.
you?
No.
Oh, right.
I live with Shawnee.
Right.
The fact that 2016 is coming to a close was nice.
Bad year for you, right?
Celebrities are going to stop dying
world.
from now on.
Oh, God.
Mine
Good
was
year for us.
Blink 182 tickets.
Oh, yes.
None of you expected me to say that. We didn't talk about this before the stream.
My in-laws got me some sweet storage for the loft, and then thought, oh, that's nice.
Sweet storage.
And then I opened it up, and it was full of everything that I could possibly like to put in, to eat. It was custard, rice pudding, dry roasted peanuts.
Custard.
Picture of Shawnee.
Custard.
Picture of Shawnee. Wait, I don't.
Don't talk to Kyle about custard.
Oh.
He's got 1,000 uses for custard.
So I was pleased with that. Don't know where that jumped in.
So obviously we got just a couple of things to rattle off here that were included in the video. Of course, this isn't everything, but this is just a couple of things. For example, we had the initial mention of bank bidders. We have, of course, the expansions to which are being announced as the year goes on. Mining Smith Inn and new Solar Wars, etc. How hyped are you guys in general for the year that's coming ahead and what is coming out from us? So just to give you some context here, actually, I'm going to throw this over to you.
Yeah.
The teams have had a bit of a shake-up, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you wanna talk
We
about
can
that?
mention that now. So to handle the fact that there's these 6-month lead-ins and development work being put into an expansion, for example, the fact that we're spinning up a new team to do a lot of kind of optimization work on the start of the growth team who are doing lots of kind of modernisation, meant that we had to just shift up how we work, and that meant new teams, which means new names. So we have 2 expansion teams, one headed up by Mod Ollie, the other one by Mod Joe. Do you want to reveal your team name?
We're called Eternals.
The Eternals.
The Eternals.
The Eternals. We want to give them a new identity because so many of the kind of original Guardians or
So
the
the
original
Watch is
Watch are
dead.
elsewhere. Long live the
The Watch is
Eternals.
dead, and now our watch has ended.
Wow. No,
We went out on a bang.
video? Or
There won't be any
it went
stabbing
out on a
video.
bang.
Oh, maybe there should be a video.
So
You were just stabbed.
we all get stabbed. Yeah, seppuku.
So the Eternals have gained a mod stew for those who are interested in their kind of developers.
Oh God, do you want to go through? There's been a lot of changes.
I mean, like some of the big changes. We can pull out highlights.
Yeah, we got Mod Raven.
Yep.
Mod Stew.
Give me my stew back.
Yeah, he's ours now.
And the other team headed up by Mod Joe are the Titans, and that's
Yeah.
you. Plus, you've now got.
We've got Rowley. We've
Took
got
days
Mod
from
Days.
us.
Yeah, it's a fair swap. Like days.
What, days for Stu?
Yeah.
My beloved days.
2 glorious developers. Yeah.
But one of the big reasons for doing it as well is to kind of spread the disciplines as well. Like some of the developers and testers are well known for combat, or well known for story, and it's just good to get a bit of a mix because Expansions has everything. So they are master of all now.
Fair enough. All right, so first of all, as you might have seen from the video on Sunday, Double XP Weekend is on Friday the 17th of February. So make sure to get yourself very excited for that
I
one.
got it wrong in the script, and we had to have reshoots like in Rogue One, just to make sure that the dates were correct. Just to show you, like,
Hey, at least we
check what you write.
At least we noticed that before
yes,
going out,
yes,
right?
only a day before.
So we're going to start off first of all with the release from Monday, which was the Memorial of Gothics. It was a different approach to our update process, of course, which was a bit more quiet/secret. Before I ask you a couple of questions, Ryan, how do you think the whole keeping it quiet and releasing it has gone so far?
I think that players and you guys have really responded well to it. I want to do more of it. I think this was always a tester. If January goes well, we've got it planned for February as well. Some element of surprise, the quest that we were going to throw in there. It's also worth noting there are 2 different kinds of surprises. There are surprises of like, hey, we're only going to reveal it in the month ahead video. But there's actually things coming out in January and February we're not going to talk about until launch.
Okay.
I think that's valuable as well because, you know what, players really, like silver jewelry, darkscape. There's a kind of value to that.
We did mention this in the year ahead BTS. We said surprise is a bit of a theme, isn't it? So
yeah.
It's something we're consciously doing more
And
of.
that's baked into expansions too. Like, there's going to be a few pillar elements that we'll reveal for every expansion, but when you kind of jump through the walls of Menophost, jump through the gates of Menophost, there's going to be loads of stuff that you're just going to go, hey guys, come over here, I found this. And I really like that. That's exciting. A bit of discovery.
So, throw it over to you, Ryan. How was it like keeping this sort of content a bit of a surprise? Because obviously, it is graphics, which for a lot of people, a lot of players, they enjoy that kind of content. But I mean, first of all, why was it kept a surprise? And two, I mean, what was the most enjoyable bit about it for you?
I feel like there are some types of content that are better to type about, and some that are just a bit more nice. See what you can get, type of thing. Do you have a mic problem?
I think it might specifically be you. Talking to my chest.
Oh, baby.
I don't know if it is specifically you.
Okay, so is it me? I hope it's not me.
Abort.
Abort.
Is it? What have I done?
It's ramen apparently.
Well, I didn't do anything. I just
Tends to peck.
You,
Tends to peck. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
You
Right.
broke equipment with your peck.
okay.
Let's keep going. So we can
Okay,
go
so let's just take a step back here because obviously they might have missed that because obviously due to the little mic thing. So I'll repeat the question just for people watching. So obviously, first of all, why was it kept such a secret? And then two, I mean, how was it? What was your favorite part of developing this content?
Yeah, okay, so assuming everything's working now, fingers crossed, thank you, brilliant. So there are certain types of content that are more suited to like big hype and a rolling wave of momentum before we release it. And there are others that are nice to open. You walk downstairs, it's Christmas morning, and your mum's actually got you like a secret present, or your dad's bought you a car or something. Yeah, that would be nice. And we felt like because Memorial to Gothics was like a supplementary update to existing content, it boosted divination, gave you alternative lore and decisions and more depth to the divination skill. We felt like we didn't really want to hype up something that already existed in the game and that we were actually technically improving. Whereas things like Menophost, I mean, come on, it's a whole new expansion. That's the kind of thing that we wouldn't ever really want to keep as a surprise. So developing something that we knew we had to keep quiet, it was hard. I had to delete one of my tweets.
Oh yeah.
I put out a teaser saying, this is going to be
Some cool stuff related to divination's coming very soon,
Yeah.
etc.
I thought it was really cruel asking him that question.
yeah.
What?
I know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I didn't encourage him to call himself out on that one.
No, that's fine.
But it was also that little off the back of Christmas. It was nice to just kind of drop a gift in.
Yeah.
Like that we always knew that we were going to do that.
Welcome to 2017.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, a question from Lopende Bank 3. Why wasn't the new Guardian of Gothics introduced? This would have been a perfect opportunity. Currently, there are still 2 Guardians missing, a male and a female.
Can I go for it? Yeah, I mean, we're saving them for something.
Basically,
Okay.
yeah.
If that's all right, because I made the stupid mistake at the start of being a narrative designer of actually itemising how many of them there were. So we have to be careful, and we've got a couple of places that we want to use them.
Awesome. Question from Minimal Hades. Can a teleport to Gothics Memorial site be added to the 6th Age circuit?
Basically, yes. Mod Joe has said, we'll see. And then Mod Rowley chimed in after he left today and said, I'll do it in my tap time. So
Okay, cool.
I quite like the idea of teleporting an engram. Is that in there or something you considered?
that was suggested and has been considered, and you might see it Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, there can't be too many, but...
Question from Lee Barraslep. Are the mention rewards from the Memorial to Gothics permanent?
Yeah, absolutely. So they work kind of like a divination talent tree now. If you prestige the whole system 3 times, I applaud you. But also you get access to 4 choices out of the 12 that you can have permanently.
So we're going to throw in, if you haven't got it already, of course, we have the Treborn follower pets that you are able to acquire by talking to Diango. We're going to throw the code in the chat now. You can right-click and click on redeem code.
I love how quickly people figured out it's 0800 Gothic.
Yeah, they were pretty quick on that
People
one.
tried phoning the number as
Oh,
well.
of course you would.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, quick stat on that. We got over 36,000 people have redeemed that
Oh, there we go.
pet so far, so let's get it up. Let's see more.
Nice.
Oh.
Really?
Are you that really?
Is that your first contribution?
I had like a tickle in my throat. It's just clear my throat.
Your butterfly.
Yeah.
And then I guess the final thing for you, Orion, is if there's any recommendations or suggestions you can give to players, because some people are doing act divination for this, others are doing... Others are doing the normal memory gathering. Oh, you've missed this, haven't you? Other people are doing the normal memory gathering. I mean, is there any tricks or anything? Like, for example, finding 12 engrams or something like that. Is there anything that they need to be aware of?
Yeah. Arc divination is okay for this. It's not the best. Due to the way the ticks work with Arc, it's slower. You do have an equal chance every minute or something for it to occur, so it's not that bad. We're talking like Arc divination is 98% as effective as regular divination. It's not.
I'd say do you measure out memories at the same time?
At the same, that is
Like run them in
really
parallel?
Good tip. Yeah, get them both. And if you haven't done the 100 Chronicles requirement yet, is that on comp or trim or something?
It's
like Mastercross.
it's a yeah,
and trim, I think.
That's it. Then don't select the Harmony of Narragon benefit yet from the Memorials Gothics.
which turns them into butterflies. Is that correct?
Yeah. Is that something you're going to change? Would you allow butterflies as?
Maybe they're not technically Chronicles. That is just kind of a flip of a coin, which would be better. Some players might just be like, "Look, I know I need to get Chronicles. If I got butterflies as well, it might be confusing. I don't know." And also, probably the best tip for like max players who want a little bit out of it and are still going for their 120s and whatever. One of the best engrams to unlock first is the Berthorpe one in the church, which gives you access to shared knowledge, which increases divine location XP. I think you don't get items instead, but you get obviously.
I think it's 125%, but no loot. I think it's the way it works. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just pretty nice to have.
That's quite a good one.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to move over to Mod Ramen, who you can tell is kind of feeling the
pal.
effects a little bit.
He's been working hard. He's been putting in the hours.
So obviously, with Sunday's video came the announcement of next the Angel of Death. First of all, let's go back to RuneFest where you mentioned back when we had that interview just after you came off the stage, you said you would love to have done something like that. Was it already confirmed you were doing something like that back then, or did it come afterwards?
I don't think you pitched it.
It was
Taptibus.
It was Taptibus, something called Tantibus. Yeah, look at all the PogChamps go. So for a while in my test stream, I've always had a prototype. When I first started learning to code, it was the first thing I wanted to do. I had a prototype. I played with it, and I realised bossing isn't really the place to start learning to code. So I did a couple of other projects, and then, in
Boss Battle
tap
Browse,
time,
etc.
In tap time, I slowly started picking it up, and then towards RuneFest, I sort of started to change it towards next 2 or next the Angel of Death, and then obviously at the end of the stream in that interview, you said blah blah blah. Are there any tap projects coming? So I said I did drop it at the end of that stream, saying I love bosses, I love Next. So
You had a Next reference in the Mar quest, did you not?
yeah. So when you talk to Pernex,
Spoilers.
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Should have done it. When you talk to Pernex, he mentions that Zaros is preparing to give Nex something, but obviously, spoilers, with the fall of Zaros, he never actually got to fulfill that, and that's what you'll be finding out what this is in this update.
So, I suppose the question...
I was just going to say, in the eyes as well.
Yeah, the eyes
were,
teaser as well. I mean,
that's what it was referring to.
Yeah. A lot of people did say Amascat, and that was like, I saw the dog, and I was like, yeah, well done.
So, why Nex, and why now?
Well, it's no secret that I have, Nex is one of my favourite characters in the game. Like,
You've got a crush.
Waifu.
yeah, I got waifu, kawaii. Is it kawaii? I'm not sure. But
Waifu.
way back in
Your Next head on your desk.
yeah, I got like a little Nex cookie jar. way back in 2011, that's kind of when I started to play properly. I fell in love with Next, like, you know, one of my favorite pieces of content, literally. One of my favorite pieces of content. And over the years, like, we've always discussed, yeah, we should do a Next hard mode, what should happen? And then it kind of just sort of snowballed into what I have at the moment. It's been through a lot of feedback, a lot of things have been cut.
I think it relates and reacts to a number of things. Also, I mean, obviously Zaros is a big kind of character at the moment, and
she's such a big character, and obviously, like, Chris L did a phenomenal job when she was released. It's hard to live up to what Next, you know, was.
Yeah, and it's obvious it's a response to kind of Talos style and rages and kill streaks that some people are eager for, like, kind of soft cap group bosses and
things you can mass. Like Goals Dungeon 2, we put in some things you could mass, and it's like people do enjoy.
It just shows that we haven't completely abandoned that at all, you know.
And you wanted to piss off Mod Harrison as well.
Yeah, well, no. We've all had, like, little attempts at Next hard mode in our streams, but what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Yeah, PVM, like, PVMers hadn't really had a group boss to really sink their teeth into. Yes, they had raids, but you can only loot it once every 2 days. So hopefully this is going to give you that.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to some questions. First question's from Moo I'm a Pony.
Nice, strong name.
Sweet.
The next boss was mentioned to scale depending on the amount of people who go in. Can you confirm if this means it's solo on release?
You won't be able to solo it.
You won't.
It's she will tear you to shreds. If you go in there solo, she will tear you to shreds. Like, there's no two ways about it. I'm sure one day someone will attempt, like, solo it, or they'll find some exploit.
But you don't think with weapon and gear,
like, I'm pretty sure the way I've coded it, they won't find an exploit.
Find an exploit.
Don't say find an exploit.
Can we get some kind of bet on here? Like, what'll happen if they do?
I'll out my blue party hat.
You would do what to it?
Your blue party hat.
Did you just say
Yes.
I'll give my blue party hat to someone.
you've said this before.
No,
you don't hold it up.
Let the chat decide something.
Wooks, they're just going to call. They'll just call Wooks and he'll do it.
I just don't think it's possible.
Well, you have just said
Put your
you'll
hat where your
out
mouth
your blue
is.
party hat if it happens. We need a timescale. If it happens within the first,
6 months.
3 months. Let's go halfway in between us.
3 months isn't
Until
enough.
menopause.
But you're
Because you'll release something that, like, allows you to... It's fine.
I'll release an
But
exploit.
look at everyone's spamming Wooks. Like, I'm sure Wooks, you know, maybe he'll give it a go, but it's difficult. It's difficult.
Okay. One Indecisive asks, will getting the lore require fighting the new Nex?
I'm unsure. Probably yes. But you would only need to do one kill to...
So you're saying probably. Does this mean that some stuff can still change then?
Some stuff can still change.
Okay.
I haven't plugged it into the Master Questscape, and I haven't plugged in the drops for it yet. So
But you're going to.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really unsure about that because I don't want to lock, like, that
Master
behind
Questscape.
one of the hardest bosses.
Okay. So you mentioned not being able to solo it. Drakath 100 asks, what kind of line of difficulty are we looking at here? Is it Virago hard mode, etc.?
It's always difficult. I mean, we said this on the Telos stream and other boss streams. It's really hard to pitch one boss against another in terms of difficulty. But I did say it's around between Virago hard mode and Yakamaru. Like, it's got the intensity of Yakamaru, I'd say. You'd say from what you've seen, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, well, I mean, both Yakamaru and Virago hard mode are both
solid.
really intense, and so it's up on that. That's the kind of tier we want to put it on, isn't it? So
There's a fair few number of, like, group dynamic things, like those bosses.
you have to be coordinating as a group.
Yeah, like this fight really heavily depends on coordination, how you adapt to situations.
Yeah.
You need to have, like, a game plan, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned obviously that it's going to be too difficult to solo. So Palm asks,
Nice try.
Reset.
so yeah, they ask, will Nex's power be increased by smaller increments for each extra player, or is it just going to be this and then you just go in?
No, so she doesn't increase health or any damage based on extra players, but extra players do affect various things throughout the fight.
Okay. People have noticed an interest in an unfamiliar-looking wand and orb in the Year Ahead video. What info can you give us on that, and also info on the new prayers we noticed?
So obviously you noticed the new prayers, and
Was that intended to be
That
given
wasn't
away so
intended.
easy?
Sadly, I didn't get to.
It was on
review
your
the-
screen, so I'm put.
Yeah, but I had my
And the
prayers
Spotify
open.
playlist. All intentional.
But in relation to the wand, because it's a test server, we like players come in and they're like, oh, I can never have this item, so gave Justice a blood seismic wand. So
Okay.
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 they get giddy. They're like, oh, Luke's like, oh, give me my trim comp cape, and then he tweets it and accidentally leaks next hard mode. It's all right. It's fine.
Junkma asks, will there be some kick-ass music for next Angel of Death? I'm thinking something along the lines of metal.
You've heard.
I've
the
heard some of
music,
it, yeah,
and
it's very
like,
good.
I am
very good.
all over that music. Like the music is phenomenal. Like there's lobby music, which is slow and kind of emotional, and then there's the fight music, which is epic. And
Oh, so we have lobby music.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. How many different roles are there in next Angel of Death? Will there only be 2 roles, for example, a tank and DPS, or will you expect to see multiple roles?
I'd say multiple roles.
Okay.
There'll be the tank, and then I don't want to throw too much out to you guys because I really want you to experience it on the first day. But there will be multiple roles, yeah.
Gotcha. And how are the drops going to be determined from Galahad, sir?
So initially, I wanted to do a sort of Virago style drop system, but based on a couple posts
Can
from
you,
Reddit.
sorry, before you jump in there, can you explain what you mean, or what that is,
Yeah.
just for people who might not be aware of how that drop system works?
So pretty much at the end of a Virago phase, he looks at the person who did the most damage, the person who tanked the most, the person who tanked the most blue bombs or red bombs, I'm not sure which one it is. And then he picks a random unique player, and then he puts them all into a big pool. And by the time he gets to the last phase...
Sorry, Litz just put a message up.
Oh.
Nah, he's lying. He puts them into a big pool, and then he rolls between them all, and on the last phase, then people get the drop. So it's very dependent. There was a thread on Reddit today saying, Virago's been watered down to people who just want to go to Vitalis, so essentially they roll hog, and that means people who come as DPS, they don't really get a chance to get a drop, so it sort of forces them out. They don't feel motivated to go because they're not getting anything. So
we've been discussing this a lot today.
We've discussed it almost like the entirety of the afternoon with not only Ollie but all the combat council. We want to get it right.
We want to make sure it's fair for everyone who's legitimately participating.
Yeah. So
basically.
like the way it's kind of shaping up to sound is roles will matter, but everyone, well, the top people, like we won't go overboard saying 50 people will get stuff, but yeah, like, it won't be unfair.
All right, so Insane Purple asks, what sort of requirements will there be to fight next?
Same as regular next. I haven't put on any extra thing.
Mod John in the background saying Nextra. And then I guess the most important question is, when will it be out?
Do they know?
I think I'm not gonna lie. Based on that reaction you just did there, people can put put 2 and 2 together pretty
We've
quickly.
told them end. Of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
month, so.
30th of January.
All right, there you go.
So pretty soon.
All right, so I'm gonna segue a little bit over to game jam and passion projects.
Yeah.
Because passion projects have become a bit of a theme for February. Is that
That's
right?
right, yeah.
So, I mean, first of all, can you give us like an introduction to the whole concept? So, for example, what is TAP, first of all?
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people who regularly watch your streams probably know what it is by now.
Yeah,
you're able to bring
I
them
can
to
do it
speed.
quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the developers are really interested in kind of training up the skills, but also kind of contributing their passion projects, their personal projects to the game, things that they're particularly interested in. So combat, for example, in this case. So we allocate one day every 2 weeks called TAP, which is Thursday all-day personal project. And people just can work on what they want to. And if it's good enough, we can greenlight it and get it into the game. And we've been lucky enough to have some really good projects at the moment from a number of developers that has meant that we've kind of got this critical mass and we want to put it all out in February and get players involved too. And that means putting up a Reddit thread, putting up a forum thread, asking for players smaller ideas. And what we'll do is we'll dedicate that 17th to the 20th? 17th, 18th, yeah, 20th weekend.
Jesus Christ.
To just kind of seeing if we can seeing how many of those player ideas and staff ideas we can get in there.
We've missed something, it seems. Some people got it.
Things are being highlighted in the chat.
Things are being highlighted. Oh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can read what you're saying, guys. Come on.
So in
Cap of pride.
the past in February, we've done these special kind of events. So we're doing a game jam. What is the basic concept of a game jam? I mean, what are players expecting?
Yeah, traditionally a game jam is to kind of intensively, get your sleeping bag out, eat pizzas all the time, and just work on a single game and produce that over the course of a weekend or week or however long you want to do a game jam. In this case, we're going to take a weekend and just see how much we can improve the game. How many things we can do to kind of contribute ideas and projects to the game based on, player ideas plus ours.
Awesome.
So I've seen a load of really cool kind of invention concepts on the Reddit threads. We're scanning them at the moment, cherry picking. And the notion is that we might actually kind of live stream elements of that. We're still working on that a little bit. Like how much of that, like traditionally from a Game Blast perspective, we'd film the whole thing. We're going to kind of pare
I'll
that
be
down
honest.
a bit.
The way I envision it is just like you just have a room, people come in and show off what they've done so
Exactly,
far,
show off their
and you talk to
wares,
them,
just spread
and
them
then
out.
done it, and then away they go. And
If we
Yeah.
do 24 hours, a 24-hour stream as well, the quality of work towards the end would be so awful.
I've got this jellyfish that gives you crafting XP.
But it doesn't. It's just bugged like really.
Yeah, it'll be that sort of thing. But I really like that because you can see it all in real time, us working on the game, get to see behind the scenes of how we produce content. Get people see developers passionate about it. I'd love the idea of like that kind of wall, Top Gear style wall of like, hey, this mod Ryan has got 20 updates into the game and somebody else has got 18, and maybe make a competition of it.
So you're turning this into a competition now.
I'm basically Molyneuxing here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of throwing ideas out there that probably won't happen.
That's what I'm trying to bring it down to a realistic level here.
All of these are the kind of things we're looking at. You're involved, man.
So I think JD has a link to the camp in the chat
Yeah.
if you want to submit suggestions for the upcoming game jam.
Put it in there in a sec.
So he's going to put it in a second. We have a couple of questions related to this as well. Delta Slug asks, can you confirm if the Well of Goodwill will be opening up to take donations over the game jam / double XP weekend?
Currently, there will be no charity element, though we are looking at for future double XP weekends for doing something more along those lines.
Gotcha. Players seem to really love the tap / passion projects. Will updates like these be more frequent in the future from Kick Aris?
Yeah, I think you'll be seeing a number of them because I think we're getting good at knowing what can make it into the game, what can improve the game. So we're seeing more and more devs, the Kyles, the Ryans, the Nexus, and Helen have also contributed something, knowing what we're looking for in the game and making it clear about that. So yeah, a lot of these, and they would particularly suit the surprise updates we're talking about. They can just slip in.
This is I like this question.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I locked eyes with you. I couldn't.
Give me the eyes.
Keep going.
So, question from Kim Manick. It's a pretty good question, actually, so
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear a response to this. Are there any specific updates planned for April and May, or will the mentioned content be out in one of those months? Is there space for personal or community projects during these months too, maybe?
Yeah, it's worth noting that a lot of the things that will be worked on for that Game Jam weekend won't immediately go into the game. They need to be tested, they need to be, we need to be rigorous about this sort of thing. As much as I'd love to just toss them into the game and see how they do. So they will kind of form other months. Some of the things Mod Ollie was talking about in front of Alcrid was some of those updates that will form March, April, May. We didn't specifically put dates on some of them. Also, quite a few projects because that's kind of reasonably far ahead, strangely enough, in terms of how we work. There is still some stuff going there. So, again, surprises to us just as much as you.
A little bit off topic, but just from a comparison perspective, any one of you can jump in here. How long would it take to develop, let's say, a medium-sized quest versus a medium-sized update?
What do you mean?
So a medium size is very difficult. So the average quest is actually quite expensive.
Yeah.
The recent quests that we've done are
So last
quite big
year,
budget.
most quests that we made were all similar in scope and like size, and they took about 3 months. Now
for 3 developers.
Now we have bigger teams and
More time. But
more time. Yeah. So, like, it depends what you mean by, because if you say a medium-sized quest and a medium-sized update, they're both medium-sized, so we would consider them the same.
yeah.
The same things. So
I think
it depends what that really
The average
means.
update has a 3-month lead in.
Sure.
I would say is probably the answer that they're looking for. I would say kind of from design to release, about 3 months.
Yeah, the kind of updates of the kind of size you would see last year, for instance.
Okay. So I'm going to move over to the achievement system a little bit. Mod Osborne, if possible.
Yeah.
Can you give us a rundown of the current achievement system and the issues with it, and then the proposed new achievement system we're moving over to, and what you're hoping to achieve with it?
Yeah, so the task sets we've got at the moment are, they're a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, they're not bad. They're largely kind of location oriented. So, you've got your kind of task sets that are Al-Qarid, Desert, Karamja, Fremennik. There are a number of things that they don't do. They're not exhaustive of all of the game content. They don't recognise real feats in the game. It's hard to understand. There's no kind of like score that I can attribute to myself that is my completion of the game. And that's really what achievement system is. One big part of it is going to do. And it also acts, actually is a kind of, if you're new to the game or you're returning to the game, they actually throw up a lot more noise than you really need. When really they could be a good way of giving you short objectives, things that guide you into the game and direct you to like the best stuff to do. Sorry, I've given you a number of different answers there.
No, that's fine. So this kind of ties in a little bit. So will current tasks, for example, be moved over to the new achievement system?
I don't know at the moment whether or not we will be amending the existing tasks.
Okay.
The current thinking is that wholesale they'll be moved in. They'll all be moved in, but there'll be additional stuff in there. And so at the highest level, you'll have that kind of score attached to a character. We'll have high score tables, player inspect, you can see that score, and virtually kind of a lot of what you do, particularly with when new content comes out, you're just kind of completing it, adding to that achievement score. And you can compare those to other players. And I'm hoping that there'll be very few people who've got this kind of trim completionist. True trim of getting all of the achievements. But there's also that other level of it actually gets people to see the good stuff in our game. Just kind of blazes a path to the best stuff in the game. And I feel like kind of, as good as the path system is, it drops off.
Are we looking to take any player suggestions regarding achievements?
Yeah, so
like
achievement system is one of those updates, along with mining, smithing rework, clue scroll overhaul, bank rework. It's changing the game that people play right now, and I really want them to get involved. So at the very least, there'll be developer diaries.
Sure.
Achievement system, I think the plan is also to release a player design document. So this is going to have a constant, we're going to have constant chatter all the way through. Because, it's particularly pertinent to completionist players, comp capers, trim comp. How does it affect them? We're going to keep all that chatter going.
Is there an opportunity for maybe hidden, Easter egg achievements, some fun little achievements?
I'm a big achievement hound on my Xbox, and I hate hidden achievements.
Okay.
Because I like to know exactly what I'm going for and then work towards it rather than have to go onto the internet to find out. But I don't mind too much about the kind of hidden zero achievements. The little kind of just acknowledging that you've done something.
You don't have to get
doesn't contribute to that score, regardless.
That's what I think. That's the best way to do it. It's not going to say 900 out of 1,000 points in this area, but you don't know what the last one is.
Yeah.
You'd have all the points, but the secret one is a 0.1.
That's it. That's personal preference. I believe Mod Timbo, who's leading the designers, have a similar opinion.
We'd have something stupid like I died to a sheep or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one of the suggestions was kill a boss with a rubber chicken.
There you go. Yeah.
So, just examples.
Next two, I think.
Next two of the rubber chicken.
That's where it's
there you go.
Yeah, it's soloed with a rubber chicken. Goodbye, blue party hat.
All right, so I'm going to move over to Shattered Worlds. Ollie, I'm going to throw this over to you. So first of all...
I'm relevant, finally.
Yeah, it took a while to bring you in. So first of all, can you give us the rundown of what is Shattered Worlds?
All right, so some people might have heard of it at RuneFest. Wait, not RuneFest. Summer Summit.
Last May.
Last May. And we described it then, but I think people still didn't really get a proper idea of exactly what it is. So everyone's aware, there's some weird stroking going on. This is quite distracting.
Sorry.
But right, so Shattered Worlds is solo PVM content that's intended to sit somewhere in intensity between Slayer and bossing. And it's basically, you jump through portals to go to randomly generated worlds. So they're also randomly filled with enemies. And you also get, this is really difficult to do while this is going on.
Come on, guys.
This is a Shattered World.
And you also get mutators applied to the world. So not only do you get randomized worlds, randomized enemies, but you also get like altered gameplay as well. And this sort of stacks up as you go through, and it's intended to be an infinite game mode. There's also multiple performance indicators, so you can measure yourself against various different things. And then the intention is that there's also rewards that encourage repeated play. So there's a shop and potentially challenges and things like that, which encourage you to keep playing it and keep getting rewards.
One of the things that I think it was Rubik kind of threw a question out
so
there.
you're about to, I know you're about to ask. So I actually asked Ollie about this earlier.
Oh,
I
did
was
you?
genuinely
Oh,
curious.
really?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see it on the script. So.
No, it's not on the script. It's just something I genuinely asked because I was interested. So what you've described it initially sounds a bit like Dungeoneering in regards to how you go in from area to area.
That's the next question.
And that
On the script.
yeah,
The next question.
yeah. So it's essentially Dungeoneering, how you're going from area to area, but also Dominion Tower, how it has some sort of modifiers like when you're in your climber mode.
Yeah.
How is it not like them?
So I'll give you the same answer I gave you earlier, which is in Dominion Tower, firstly you're fighting quest bosses that have been taken out of their natural setting into a generic one, and so the environment's quite samey, and the encounters they're bosses but quest bosses. Like its appeal is kind of niche, and the what are they called in Dominion Tower? Limitation? No.
Handicaps, isn't it?
Handicaps, yeah. They don't really change the gameplay in fun ways. They're just handicaps. They make it more difficult for you. Whereas Shattered Worlds is like completely randomized every time. You're seeing all sorts of different types of environments, all sorts of enemies from across the game, and the mutators are intended to they get crazy. Like they add up. Like earlier, so we've been doing some prototyping, and one of our devs, I forget what his mod name is. Modtoon.
Modtoon, yeah.
So he's put together some of these mutators, and there's one where it's called Hydra, where you kill an enemy and it splits into smaller enemies. And then we have another mutator called Combustion, where there's every enemy, well, it doesn't always have to be every enemy, but at the moment it is, spawns patches of fire around, and then every enemy when you kill them explodes. So he killed an enemy, which spawned a load of little enemies, which were all spawning fire, and then all immediately exploded. And it was just like, that's 3 mutators, whereas if you've been in there for ages, loads will stack up, and there'll be positive ones as well, which make you more powerful than you've been anywhere else in the game. So the gameplay will get really crazy, but we also think, compared to Dungeoneering is very, it's got a lot of puzzles, and you have to be in a group, and the pace is slow and stuff, and we think this is it's kind of more generic in the fact that it's more widely appealing. It's just PVM, and it at least starts off a lot less intense. And so I think Dungeoneering has become a mainstay of RuneScape content. It's a skill that people are still doing it today. And we think we can take it like the next step with Shattered Worlds. And there'll be more things that are rewarding for repeated play. Like the Dungeoneering shop, there's things on there which you can keep coming back to, but there's not like challenges which refresh all the time. So there'll be things that remind you to come back and play and take your new gear in there and do better, so you can constantly improve.
One of the things that I've been talking to the guys about, I've been pushing them for, which I really like, is that this is mad as sin. Like playing this is just going to be with the mutators going off, with the potential for we could change up the player character a lot. Like what about because this is a closed system. Hey, why don't they kind of be able to combat level far higher than they can be in the main game
one of the
world.
mutators we're saying is every time you kill an enemy you gain a combat level, and just that would get ridiculous.
It's just like frenetic, mad, crazy gameplay, and I'm really up for that. I think that's something that we haven't really done.
It's like the further in you get, the more mutators you get. So if you're not that good, you won't have all these. You'll have some crazy mutators, but not tons of them, making it really difficult, and you might be able to be a little bit more relaxed. But if you're watching someone stream who is just crazy good and they're at a ridiculously high level with all the mutators, it'll just be absolutely mad, and the intention is that you'll want to watch people stream and show you how to deal with certain mutators so that you can get better and complete the harder challenges yourselves.
But we're not making this to be. We want to let that happen organically.
Yeah.
We're not making something that's got necessarily a Talos Elite mechanic.
So are we saying that it's meant to be a genuine, serious test of skill, or can you take a more fun approach to it?
Yeah, it can be. If you just want to relax in there or just have fun, then you'll be able to do that. But if you really want to push yourself to the limits, then you get further and further, and it will start getting really crazy.
I don't know if you're able to confirm this a little bit early to say, but is it planned to be safe on death if you happen to die there?
The intention is that you lose the supplies that you've used, so you don't go in there with the full inventory and get that back if you die.
Sure.
But it is safe death. You don't lose stuff you haven't used.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is where obviously we're getting into the more finer and deeper content, which is expansion. So everyone can jump in here regardless. So about expansions, tell us what we know so far about expansions. So
We're so
obviously
guarded about this because we know that we want to talk about it at the right time, and now it's not necessarily the right time. But it's the things that we shouted about from the stage.
Yeah.
Certainly with Menethos.
It's taking a form, like it was just ideas, and now it's taking a form.
Yeah, it's
and that's
properly
the most
exciting.
exciting part. That's the part that I get really kind of hyped up about. Watching, I mean, okay, I showed Mojo an aspect of Menethos that we're developing earlier, and you could just see it in his eyes as he turned and looked at me. He's like, yes, this is great. We've got a piece of the puzzle, and there are quite a few pieces of this particular puzzle, nailed down, and it's January.
It's always good when you start like honing in and hitting those hitting the nail on the head with certain
I
ideas.
can move that, go on to the next thing.
So what? So in the meantime, we know that. So which team first of all is working on the Menethos update?
Titans.
Titans. So in the meantime, then, what are Ollie's Eternals team doing in the run up to expansions? The main theme is expansions. So will they be doing like short burst updates?
We're of course doing Shattered Worlds, which is our main focus, and then the more we get done with Shattered Worlds, the more we can start looking at the following expansion and put more effort into that. Obviously, at the moment, we're dealing with next two as well, and there will. There's always little projects that can be done here and there, but ultimately our focuses are Shattered Worlds, and then as soon as possible, start moving people into the next expansion.
Yeah. So the idea is to give them a bit of a run, a lead up then, so that they have time to prepare for whatever it is you want to execute. Okay, awesome. Release date for Menethos, as in, doesn't have to be specific, obviously.
Well, we can be.
But
It's up to you.
you can be if you want to.
I don't feel it's necessarily the right time, but we're going for early June.
Okay.
And yeah, we're going to make as beautiful and big and awesome a project as we possibly can for that time.
So, Metal Havoc asks, how do you plan to top the release of Prift on this?
We don't necessarily have to top it. We're going to make it as cool as Priftness. I mean, if I remember rightly, and I've watched videos of the Prift release as well, because to create this type of feeling is one of the core aims of the project. Watching these people just kind of stood around a gate or an empty area, and then the update happens and you're allowed to go in, that's fantastic. We've discussed this week, and I can't really say much either, because it's really easy for me to give details away.
You'll tweet it later.
Yeah. You're a git. Thrown me a little bit there.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
At least he's not waving pillows around.
Yeah, that'd be really distracting.
Do you want me to tag him?
Yeah.
Okay, so
it doesn't have to beat Elf City. Elf City does a very specific thing. For me, this has to offer something different. Has to sit within the kind of game world and what people want to use it for. And for example, like Tombs, I think we're really excited about the idea of bringing strategy and fun to high level, to basically a large proportion of non-combat skilling. A little bit more intense, but rewarded for that intensity. Yeah. So that gives you an example of what we're doing for a number of things within the city. It's a case of, it has that alternate kind of role.
It's also more accessible than Elf City was, so we hope to bring, it's more of a big thing on launch because more people can access it straight away.
And of course the surprise and discovery thing is huge. We want to dedicate a real amount of time to these devs, just filling it with, kind of little skilling elements, little stories, building out the theme of the area, examines even.
They knew everything they were getting with Elf City because we released a design doc, whereas this is more actually discover it on day one.
Half of it. It's just kind of like half the iceberg.
The only thing, personally, I hope we get is just a cutscene that welcomes you there, because I really like that with Prift. When you first go there, you get that introductory cutscene.
So easy to please. I'll do that.
You can do the cutscene. You can use the cutscene tool. Wow.
I wouldn't say it'd be good.
We really want this cutscene of, and it might not happen, but we really want this cutscene of the ports area in Menethos, where you go out on a boat and you just see this wide-angle view of the city come around the side of the main pyramid. And what we've already kind of grey-boxed and trialled this week looks absolutely incredible, because RuneScape's this top-down game, and you've got a limited field of view. So what we've done is we've taken that aspect and designed around it instead of trying to bodge it in. And you get this kind of almost forced perspective of this giant looming pyramid almost anywhere you are in Menethos right now, which is going to be amazing. Did you just gleek on a screen?
I like tried to suppress a yawn and it sort of like gargled my mouth.
It seems
You look like you're falling asleep. You're
don't
crying.
fall.
We're all
fall
knackered
asleep.
at the moment.
We're haggard.
So how on the weekend as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Credit to
thankfully you
you.
were there as well.
So how important is NXT going to be for this then?
It's pretty much imperative that you've got it at this point to really enjoy the scenery.
We are looking at, certainly with Menethos, potentially even future expansions, to have big updates to NXT, like kind of, add-ons, effectively, that kind of show it off.
Volumetric lighting.
Volumetric lighting.
Example.
Oh, we've revealed it, have we? Good.
Can we talk
Huh?
about?
No, yeah, we revealed it in the YouTube video.
I'm not on the pulse. I'm sorry.
And then you came out, oh yeah, Witcher 3 hasn't got that, take that.
Oh,
Witcher.
yeah, I remember
Yeah. yeah.
And they
scared
turned
me
out
for
The
a minute
Witcher
there.
really
Yeah,
does have
you mean
volumetric
Ollie?
lighting.
Yeah, I saw Ollie's
I think
face. I
even
was
The
like,
Witcher 1.
I was like,
I saw Ollie's face. I was like, I should probably say something because
It's a little trick I like playing.
There's quite a few little techie bits that we're going to introduce in Menethos, not just volumetric lighting as well. There's a few that the environment artists are really excited about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did an amazing job with the memorial to Guthix. That is absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
I really like that. So I'm hoping we get something like that with Menethos, which would be pretty cool. So with this, of course, was the announcement of 120 Slayer.
Yep.
Is that definitely coming in with the Menethos batch?
So currently, yes. I mean, we're story pointing, time costing things at the moment. So there are still things that could change, but we've made the decision that this is for the benefit of the game. We looked at it. We thought polling it was going to be very difficult.
So you say that. How have you come to that conclusion? As in, for the benefit of the game?
Well, we found a coin.
Because it's a pretty big decision.
It is a pretty big decision.
and,
And sorry, that's probably too absolute an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's worth noting. I think has it gone out now?
The survey? Yeah.
There is a survey
We have
that
a
is
survey.
out there. I'd really like to put a link in the chat and also onto Reddit.
Yeah,
And
we'll put
forum.
it
That covers like what you're expecting about 120, what you're worried about from 120. So we can start forming our plan for it. So yeah, I was too absolute there. I think that it is internally, we feel confident that it helps with what we're doing. We're trying to deal with kind of delivery of weapon and then boss encounter and that kind of loop that we're trying to achieve. Sorry, I'm not answering this particularly well, but we feel that it's strong, but we want to respond to that player feedback. If it comes back from the survey, that we are on the wrong page, then obviously we'll amend.
How soon are we looking to look into the survey?
You can normally find out results within the first few days, but we will keep it open for longer than that.
Sure. Okay, so with 120 Slayer, is the curve going to change? So, for example, if I'm level 109 virtual level, will I remain there if that update comes out and it's there?
I will admit, I feel slightly uncomfortable talking about Slayer to 120 right now.
Fair?
I feel
Okay.
like there are too many conversations that need to happen.
Okay.
I don't think we are necessarily involved in that conversation at the moment.
I would agree. Don't talk about
So
it.
I know it seems like dodging the question, but it's not the right time. We're only going to cause like angst with people.
We have options. That's all. We've
Yeah.
got to wait a lot.
And I want to wait until player feedback comes.
Yeah, we have time as well, which is the key
Yeah.
thing. We have time to kind of talk about this.
I'm sensitive to compers. I'm sensitive to those who think like
just
combat should go
sensitive.
up. I'm a very sensitive man.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly aware of player feedback.
Okay. A couple of questions from the Twitch chat. You said there won't be a quest requirement for Menethos, but will there be additional content with a quest requirement? So additional content in Menethos with quests, for example.
Yes. So I'm going to say yes straight away. We have designs for things. I can't specifically say yes, we're definitely doing that. We have a small quest requirement for Menethos in the sense that you'll be able to do it probably either beforehand or I mean there'll be a desert quest or two to do. We don't want to have this whole desert chain be the requirement to Menethos. That's a decision that we have made. We want people to be there. We want people to access it on day one. Go, oh look, Menethos, I can get in. It might take 5 minutes worth of fetch, do something, mini quest style. Okay, cool, I can get in the gate now.
So similar to Ark, for example, when you had impressing the locals.
Yeah, it'd be even smaller scale than that.
Okay.
Probably. Even that was stuff to do.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've got certainly. So we've been talking about things like if you have done the quests, the Desert series, that unlocks you more stuff.
Yeah.
That gets you further along in whatever system we want to add, reputation system, faction system. You know, being the master of Menaphos, it may well jump you ahead. So there'll be real benefits to having done those quests.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Okay, and obviously next to it is Sophonim. Is that going to have any sort of graphical update with it as well? Because it's a fair question, because obviously you might have this big, epic...
Volumetric lighting, and then suddenly you turn...
and then you turn around and...
Slums.
I mean, do we know if that's the plan, or too early
We're
to
still
say?
talking about to what degree we include it and update it.
This week, we've had our environment artists do the agility pyramid. They've done the pyramid plunder pyramid and stuff like that. So it's safe to say Sophonim is getting a graphical rework in some form. Whether we pull out all the bells and whistles is still time dependent.
Because
Sure.
our focus is on Menaphos.
Yeah.
Is the formula for expansions always going to be the same with an area, with quests and minigames and lots of different content in one package? Or would there ever be an expansion, or say a whole new quest series released and wrapped up in a skill in one batch?
You're absolutely right. With Menaphos, what we want to do with the first expansion is give you a really good example, like the archetypical expansion.
Sure.
Is that kind of big area to explore. It's all located in one place. You've got an antagonist, you know, a villain to defeat. It feels like what, you know, even with the kind of improved level cap or increased level cap, it's got that feel. That doesn't have to happen for every expansion, because they don't have to kind of communicate what an expansion is. I'd be interested in seeing a skill as an expansion. I'd be interested in seeing like a particular kind of impetus as an expansion, like filling out particular skills, or you know, a quality of life expansion. All of these are absolutely conceivable. They could happen. Whether or not
But
they'll be the
it's
next
important
expansion.
to know that like it wouldn't just be a skill as an expansion. If it was,
Yeah.
it's like the skill is the central pillar of the expansion, and there's content around it.
Yeah.
Like, it's because we know that like a skill is a skill, not an expansion.
Yeah.
So it would still be like a bigger, like more monumental.
But you might
thing.
have a hub where everybody goes to train it. Like you can imagine if Invention was an expansion, the full guild with you know kind of I don't know, golems that you create and things like that. So we're really open, and we're in conversations about expansion 2 or 3. We kind of.
Is it safe to say it's very still open on what can happen with them?
Yes, I think there's. So we are not changing the updates that we announced at RuneFest.
Sure.
We still like those. Those still will be in there for the year. But the encasing expansion theme, I think that, you know, we're having a bit of a wiggle at the moment, based on kind of response to some of the updates from last year, response to some of the updates that have just come out. So, you know, there's some gentle changes we're making.
There's meetings going on this week where we're discussing like basically all the ideas that everyone has, and then it'll be Dave's job to
Find the
hone
one
them
that
in.
whoops the ass best.
An interesting
Man.
way of putting
Really
it.
kind of whoops it.
Whoops the most.
It's a quote
ass.
for a sidebar if I've ever heard one. So, a couple of general questions here. So, anyone who wants to tag in here, feel free. 15-year veteran cape. How's it going? And when can we expect it out?
Chambers is working on that, or did he do it? I'm not sure if he's finished it.
We know about it. It's coming out. Don't you
Yeah.
worry. It's soon.
That means I just hit 10 years. Just like
Have you claimed the
recently. No.
Happy birthday, Mod Ramen.
Yay, 10 years.
Got someone annoyingly
thought you were gonna
texting
say
me
more
to
shit.
try and put me off.
So, what happened with player-owned farms?
Player-owned Farms came really high in the survey. Player-owned Farms could still be one of those updates that comes this year. I don't want to reveal anymore.
Okay.
It could well be on the table. It came high.
Do we know what's going on with the display name releases? Because there's been a little bit of chatter here and there about them. I can take this one.
Yeah, if you want to go
that
for it.
be-
I know this month.
That's fine. So at the moment, we are waiting to get more information so we can kind of finalise what we are going to do for the display name releases. But yeah, as soon as we have that, then obviously we'll be communicating it, because obviously that's where it gets very busy. So everyone wants to get the display name of their choice, etc., etc. So that's pretty much the deal there. Can we please get some sort of ETA on the mining and smithing rework? I believe you talked about this in the video. I think it was something to do with the dev diaries, etc. right?
Yeah, so we've got more dev diaries coming up, and then it's intended for later in the year. But
It's second half of the year. I know that feels like
Second half of the year.
Second half of the year. I know that feels a long way off for some, but it's simply just it's getting ready for expansions. It was a case of we just kind of get Menethos ready, the updates that we wanted before expansion started, achievements, clue scrolls, because they will form a large part of what goes into expansions. So it was just shuffling things around, and it just mining and smithing happened to go in the second half.
And the combat versions of the skill and pets plan to be released before double XP. As summoning and prayer skills, a lot of people plan to train them that weekend.
I can't wait for them. I love them. But at the moment, the pet reworks are really quirky updates in that they require a lot of animation and a lot of character time. So that's why it's not just as easy as just saying that's the next project.
Well, Ollie's team worked on 17 skill and pets. I mean, how long did that take?
I mean, that took... bearing in mind that was at the same time as that we had our environment artists and a couple of other devs doing the White Wolf Mountain and Cathby rework. That took 2 devs and an animator and a character artist 3 months to do all of that. And that's like, pedal to the metal.
The reason we didn't mention it is simply because we couldn't anticipate when we're next going to get a lot of that kind of resource at one time. Just the way it works. But it may well happen in the first half of the year. May well creep a little bit.
Yeah. But the point is, there's way less of them than the skilling pets batch.
If you're looking forward to it, I would say there's a good chance that it's coming. Soon TM.
So what other outfits can we expect to see coming game from Treasure Hunter similar to the Golem and Ethereal ones? And can we please also have Slayer masks? So I can confirm what the next outfit is.
Go for it.
We've already said it in game, which is the Shark outfit. That's going to be the next one.
Yep.
That was confirmed in the MTX in-game meetup, I believe, which took place 2 or 3 days ago.
So we've done some dev work on that. That's looking good for soonish.
So that'll be your next one that you'll be able to earn in-game, which is a nice little bonus to your fishing, of course, which is nice to have. In regards to Slayer masks, anything to say regarding that?
I don't, I must admit. No,
Okay,
sorry. I know my personal... I'd love that to be an element of Slayer.
Is everyone now going to start saying, oh, here we go. Now it's...
I saw when you said player-owned farms also, we got one as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Farms, okay.
You like to farm sharks in the
Since there is no mention of any PvP content at all, I have 2 simple questions. 1, what is the future of PvP in RuneScape? And 2, what is the future of team-based competitive gameplay in RuneScape?
PvP, so kind of pure PvP, is paused.
Sure.
There are no plans to do any PvP updates this year.
Okay.
In terms of competitive play against other players, or cooperative play, or any of this kind of like multiplayer gaming, I'm not off that at all.
We still want to foster that with some sort of content at some point, and it's something that's in our minds that we can do better with. We've seen various things that have been encouraging, but we still want to make some content that encourages
competitive skilling.
that.
Give me competitive efficiency training.
Yeah, there's still a lot of
Slayer or
avenues to explore.
that sort of thing. PvE maybe. That's still quite exciting. I'd be interested in good pitches for those.
So you kind of did that. So this was before my time, but I know for a fact you did your weekly high scores on specific pieces of skilling, etc., etc. Is that sort of thing?
I don't want to go into too much detail because this is kind of hoovering up one potential avenue for this year that we're really excited about. But the idea of temporary high scores for certain tasks or achievements or modes is cool. I'd love that.
Will you add fixed screen legacy mode on NXT? It currently only works with Java client.
Yes.
It is coming very soon.
It's done, isn't it?
It's coming very soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's coming very, very soon.
Isn't it like top of Reddit at the moment?
It's not. There's a lot of people who want it because it's a reason for them to use NXT.
Okay.
I know.
No, I just thought Mod Wolf was shouting about it.
No, Mod Wolf was shouting about the interface.
Oh yeah, it was the
updates.
interface. You're absolutely right.
But no, the other thing was also top of Reddit. I mean, I know
Mod
Dolan posted it on Twitter a while ago.
Yeah.
And they
it is coming very soon, which is pretty awesome.
Sweet.
Are you getting rid of any dead content this year, e.g. some minigames? Will you be clearing up the landscape to remove anything that is no longer useful / viable, etc.?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I mean, Mod Ollie got to talk about it, but I'm feeling really passionate about this as well, is the notion of just kind of clearing up a lot of the noise in the game and a lot of the things, overheads, those things that you feel you have to do And
You're
it take-
referring to daily, weeklies, and
dailies-
monthlies, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And you feel compelled to do it because that is the best XP. And you don't ever get to train what you actually want to train, what your objective is, for example, because you feel you're missing out. So first attack on that is dailies. I'm sorry, when I say attack, this again is going to have a dev diary. This is again have a lot of players. We're not just going to wipe out wieldy warbands and carve out sinkholes. We're talking about we could have dedicated days for those, and then kind of spin up a bit more reward for them. If they are that limited. We've got a number of different approaches and we're talking about that. First, dailies, then it's challenges. One of the things I don't like about challenges is it's very specific about what you have to train. I think that'd be even better if you could just say, go play for this amount of time, get this amount of XP, do what you want to train and we'll reward you for doing that. And then people can just train what they want. And maybe there are still some prompts, you maybe get additional reward for doing specific things. But it doesn't, you don't have to continuously do Bandos agility course or whatever, even when you haven't done the quest or what have you. There's a good challenge rework there. And then it's on to mini games. And mini games for me are we've already proven that doing a wholesale big rework to mini games doesn't work. It doesn't spark up enough players to make it worthwhile. But I know we can do smaller changes to mini games. I'm really interested in consolidating them into one place. That idea of a tower of mini games.
The Barefoot Games Room.
Yeah, or the Gamers Grotto, putting them all in one place, having a go at that Thaler system, improving that, and maybe certain mini games just admitting defeat, tearing them up and taking the best parts of them, making them skilling content, D&Ds, repurposing them. Some people love certain interactions, and I know that there are some tap projects that are to, stealing creation. There's some mini games that are really good. And actually, we could do some work to them to just kind of get them good again.
Gotcha. Question from the Twitch chat. Will there be any clan or clan Citadel updates this year?
I don't really want to
tag that one.
Yeah, I didn't really want to promise, but the case is still true as the last time I talked about it, which is we want to do some clan updates this year. We want those clan updates are not going to be given a huge amount of time, largely because of the survey, but also because the amount of work it would take to do something large.
Can you remind people what the survey said about that, if that's okay?
So clan rework came in the bottom third. I can't remember the exact position. It is an update that certain people are very passionate about, and we don't want to ignore those niches, which is why that we are going to be doing a number of updates to it this year, but they will be kind of triage, a little bit of kind of smaller improvements. We've been talking about whitelists and things like that. The bigger stuff, the bigger changes are going to have to wait till a future year when we can really do it right. Because, you play a lot of these kind of free-to-play games where clans are at the heart of it. Clan against clan, you can have clan high scores. You can really it can be a focus of the game and it can really build the health of the game. But that's something we want to do right, and that means dedicating it to a year.
All right, so on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it. But we'll do a quick round of obviously the things that we discussed. So first of all, Model Ryan and the now deceased Guardians, in that sense, released their final update, which was the Memorial to Guffix, which came out yesterday. You can check that out in-game and get stuck in. There is some really awesome stuff there, a new way of training divination and new methods to that, as well as some cool little, can I say perks, I guess is the right word? Yeah, perks, sure. Nice little perks for them that you can gather, provided you prestige through. And then, of course, we moved on to Mod Ramen and the upcoming next Angel of Death. January the 30th is the date for that, and there is some really awesome stuff to look forward to on that one. So obviously, Ramen is constantly trying to reply to as much as he can.
I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, of course.
I want it to be surprising.
But if you have any questions that he will try to answer, of course, doesn't want to spoil, but you can always get in touch with him. Moved on, of course, then to Mod Ollie and the upcoming Shattered Worlds project. So that is, of course, a rundown of where essentially you're going through many different worlds, so to speak, and then having some maybe fun mutators, but maybe some horrible mutators along the way, which will enhance your gameplay. But the idea is just to see how far you can get from there and stuff. Pretty.
So, still a way off, but and that's going to, I've explained what it is, but it's going to take shape as we go, and it's going to be a project which we're just constantly
kind of like a little bit, it's going to just go in many different areas,
it's going to, plenty of ideas will come out along the way, and we'll hopefully be sharing a lot of it.
Might even invite some players in to...
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully multiple times.
Awesome. And then we, of course, moved on to Mod Osborne and then talking about expansions in general. Of course, the main one is early June, which is Menopause, and
I've got
everything
September,
else
December.
that can come along the way.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a landmass. Can be.
Are you were like, I'm not going to say
So thank you.
anything,
There's
and
a
now
community stream just after this.
there isn't. There isn't. So I'm gonna let that settle for a second. But in all seriousness, we did release a 120 Slayer survey today, so you can get involved in that as well, and that's really important for us in seeing what you think 120 Slayer should be or could be in that sense. So do check that out. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure for the first stream from us of the year, and we'll see. What?
I just want to say, I see everyone spamming Concentrated Blast.
Yes.
All we can really say is, it's in a waiting QA, and we gotta get it done. It's gotta be done properly. Don't want to just release a buff and then we have to tweak it. We gotta get it right first time.
But it's coming.
It's definitely coming. And yeah, there you go then, ladies and gentlemen. So. Obviously, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure, as always. And until next time, we will see you then. But of course, thank you so much for watching. Take care and have a good one.